Jazz, somebody told me the other day that they said they couldn't get more than one insurance policy.
What?
Yeah.
I wonder who told them that.
No idea.
Well, that is absolutely not true. In fact, every single year you should meet with your agent to go over what we like to call an annual review. A client of mine, 30-year-old woman, when she first got her policy, she wasn't married, didn't have any children, but she was working. So she got her policy at that time based on her insurable need. Well, as life would have it, 1 year later, she met a guy, fell in love, and got married. So then her insurable need changed, because after marriage comes purchasing of a home and then sometimes even a child. So they purchased a home together. That means she now has mortgage protection. And then Ellis, as you know, 1 year later, she had a baby. And so not only did she become married, she went from being single to married. She went from renting to owning. She went from not having any children to being a parent in just 1 year. So the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Your insurable need will change. And that's why you should meet with your agent every single year in the event that you ever have a life-changing event. One of my favorite questions, and it's not that it's a ridiculous question, it's just that you and I get asked this all the time, and especially from our Gen Zs. And that is, listen, I'm young, I'm healthy, I don't think I need coverage. Like, that's for people who are old and almost out of here, but I have a lot more time to start thinking about things like that, Jasmine. What do you say to that?
So, Jazz, that's a great question. We get asked that all the time. I got cousins, man, 20s, early 30s, still don't have any coverage. They're the healthiest that they're ever going to be. They're the youngest that they're ever going to be. And it's the cheapest that insurance is ever going to be as well. And it's the optimum time for you to purchase a life insurance policy is the moment that you get a Social Security number, right? You got a big family, right? All right, you got a lot of first cousins.
I do.
And a lot of them are extremely young.
Yes, they are.
And a lot of them think that they don't need life insurance. What's your take on that?
One of the biggest misconceptions is when you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance. Well, I have one question to ask you. How long do you think you're going to be young and healthy? Is there a 50% chance that with each passing year you're going to get older, or is it like a 100% certainty? Of course, it's guaranteed. With each passing year, we all grow older. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you know whether or not in the future if you'll ever have heart attack, stroke, cancer, bad car accident? The answer is no. None of us can predict the future. So my answer to that every single time someone asks us is, it doesn't matter if you're young and healthy today, you can't predict the future. And so you get life insurance for the same reason you get car insurance, because maybe, just maybe, one day you may have a fender bender. And when that occurs, you want to be prepared. The cool thing about life insurance is that it's one of those things where it's better to have it and never need it than to need it and never have it. So answer that question, and I think you'll know what direction to go.
Well, last time I checked, Jasmine, I don't think anybody is getting out of here alive.
No, we all have an expiration date.
So you're going to need it.
Well, that's what my grandfather used to tell me. Only two things in life are guaranteed, Jasmine: taxes and death.
There you have it.
So one of the kind of not so fun, not so cool things to talk about what we do is that when one of our clients pass away, right? So a lot of people are unclear about how does a life insurance death benefit pay out in the event that our client passes away.
Well, Jasmine, the great thing about what we do is that we really become family members to our clients, right?
Yes, we do.
We attend their cookouts. We know when their kids' birthdays are coming up. We attend graduation parties, for the kids and everything. And when that day does come, they can rest assured knowing that someone has their back. And we've got their back, because no one wants to think about trying to fill out paperwork or making phone calls or anything like that to get the money to pay out. And so that's what we do. we take all that burden of trying to figure out how to get a claim to pay out. We take care of that.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
No, I think what I love the most about it is, can you imagine mourning, like grieving and having to be on hold, listening to elevator music and being scrutinized about your loved one's medical health? How did they pass away? Having to relive and recount the series of events that led up to you losing someone who meant a lot to you. And so that's where we come in. We take care of the administrative, the back end, making sure that a claim is filed promptly, providing the insurance company with the death certificate, and then ultimately providing their loved ones with the death benefit. And nothing has given me more joy than watching the peace, the joy, the gratitude that our clients' loved ones feel when we go and meet with them and deliver them that death benefit. It's unmeasurable. And can I tell you my favorite part about it?
What's that?
That money is tax-free.
Yes, it is.
And so when you have a life insurance policy, that death benefit bypasses probate court and it goes directly to your beneficiary. It's amazing. So, honey, you love spending money.
Mm-hmm.
I love saving money, okay?
Yeah.
So all of my wives out there, I feel your pain, okay, if your husband spends a lot of money. But we have to hold on strong and keep saving. So with that being said, a lot of people don't even know about the tax advantages that life insurance policies have. And that's something for me as a saver, I was very attracted to. So kind of walk us through some of the tax benefits of life insurance policies.
Well, first and foremost, America out there, you watching this is what the government doesn't want you to know. There's a lot of tax advantages to having life insurance. Everything about life insurance is tax-free. You know, even if you go look up the IRS tax code 7702, it explains everything about life insurance being tax-free. But how does that benefit you and I? How does it benefit us today? Well, today we are growing money inside of our insurance policies that one day that we'll use for whatever we want to use it for, but most likely it'll be for retirement. And it's all tax-free money that has grown from indexes like the S&P 500, for example. And as well as if we ever needed a living benefit claim for a health concern, that money is also tax-free. You don't have to pay it back. You know, we had an agent in our office, right? Unfortunately, 38 years old, had a stroke, but because he had a policy with one of the carriers, he was able to receive a nice amount of money that was tax-free. He was the breadwinner, right? Stay-at-home mom, 4 kids, homeschooling. Can't afford not to have any money coming in.
Yeah.
And that's what that life insurance did, was save that family from bankruptcy, foreclosure, and ultimately maybe having to live with a family member in the streets.
Yeah. When I think of tax implications, I immediately think of the 3 tax buckets, right? So we have tax now, tax later, and then tax free. And most of us only have ever been exposed to the first 2 tax buckets, right? Tax now, meaning when I work for an employer, every 2 weeks, I get what's left over. The federal government, the state government has already taxed my income. And so what's left over is how I pay my bills, put gas in my car, groceries, and so on. But then you have tax later. And what are different vehicles that fall under that umbrella? Well, your 401k, right? Your retirement plans. It's pre-tax dollars. So every single month when you contribute, you're contributing into your retirement plan with income that hasn't been taxed yet, right? So that's tax later. Well, what's the disadvantage with that? That money is going to get taxed. And by the way, it's going to get taxed when you are most vulnerable. You have more money than you've ever had. Let's say you have $250,000 in your 401k. Well, you're going to be taxed on that. Now, if you had to predict, do you think taxes will increase or decrease later in the future? What do you think?
It's going to increase.
They're going to skyrocket. Like if we just look at the history of taxes in this country, taxes are not predictable, but there's one thing we can predict is that they'll go up.
Yep.
We don't know how high, but they will go up. So that's the downside of a tax later vehicle, is that when you need that money the most, you've worked 30 years for an employer and you finally need to retire. Well, guess what? 40 to 60% of that money will be taxed, and it's going to hurt. But there is a bucket called tax-free, and millions of Americans have never even been exposed to this bucket because it lives inside of the life insurance industry. You mean to tell me that I can not only build wealth, but I can pass wealth down from generation to generation and never be taxed? Yes, that's the power of the life insurance industry. And I am so happy that I'm in this industry. Multiple life insurance policies, yes or no?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because we have multiple policies.
We do. It's so true. We have a life insurance policy for mortgage protection because we only have a 30-year loan on our mortgage. So that's a temporary policy. But then we want to live as long as we possibly can. That's why we have a permanent policy. And it's also why women outlive men. I just want you to know that. I know you think that you're going to live longer than me.
Jazz, we've already had this discussion.
Babe, the mortality rate of men
I don't
is
care what
not
the
as high as
mortality
women.
rate happens.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if I go 2 seconds after, I'm not going first.
Well, that's why we have multiple policies. So, babe, what are the factors that influence the cost of life insurance?
It's really simple. It's the type of life insurance, your age, your gender, and your health.
Makes total sense, right? Because a 40-year-old married male would not have the same insurable need as a 20-year-old single male with no kids, no mortgage.
Absolutely. You know, when I was 25, I had a term policy because it was just me and my daughter.
Yep.
I didn't have a home. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have retirement that I was worrying about. It was just me and my kid.
Yep.
So, Jazz, you were a single mom, right?
Yes.
So what would you tell a single mom walking into your office and she's saying, hey, I need some life insurance? What do you tell her?
It's the biggest question that I get asked, which is not just I need some life insurance, but Jasmine, how much is this going to cost, right? Like everybody wants to know. It's like, how much is this? I don't have it because I think it costs too much money. How much is life insurance? And the answer can be simple. The cost of life insurance is really rooted in three main factors. Number one, your age. So how old are you at the time that you apply for life insurance? Number two, your health. Do you have any pre-existing medical conditions? Are you actually up to date with your doctor's visits? Yes, we should all be going to the doctor at least once a year, okay, guys? And then number three, what's your insurable need? How much life insurance do you need? Do you need temporary or do you need permanent? What are your long-term financial goals? And so when we sit down with our clients and we really map out those three categories, we're able to kind of figure out how much life insurance you need. Now, I will tell you this, it doesn't matter who you are, life insurance will never be cheaper than it is for you today, right? Because you'll never be younger than you are today. And so you want to make sure that you have coverage today because with each passing year, the cost of life insurance increases. So when people say, oh, I'm young and healthy today, I don't need it, I want to let them know, rest assured, with each passing year, you're getting older, life insurance will cost more.
Say, babe, we meet all kind of people, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And so let's say we walk into the house of a person and it reeks of cigarette smoke. And you can see that the wall is yellow. And we sit down and we start asking this person questions about getting life insurance. And we ask them, are you a smoker? And they say no. What's your next move?
Oh my gosh. I asked them, well, who in the house smokes? Because I noticed just a smidget of the smell of smoke when I walked in. And I just curious, does anyone else live here? Quite possibly, does anyone else smoke occasionally in the home?
And what if they say no?
I explain to them the process of underwriting, right? Which is, hey, by the way, Mr. or Mrs. Client, at the time I submit this application, just so you're aware, underwriting will go under a full review of your medical history. And so if you have ever disclosed to any of your doctors in the past that you are in fact a smoker, this policy can be modified and it can cost a lot more. The other side to that is if you were to pass away and the autopsy reveals that you were in fact a smoker, we would never want an insurance company to deny paying out that claim, that benefit to your family, because we actually were dishonest on the application. So when in doubt, please be honest, because we want to get you approved. Pre-existing medical conditions, what do you say to that?
Oh my God, the big boogeyman, right? Everybody's always concerned. You know, our auntie is worried about, well, I got high blood pressure, and grandma is worried about, well, I got diabetes, I got the sugar, you know, I can't get no insurance. Not true. You can absolutely get coverage, guys. Every person is case by case, all right? But for the most part, you know, the conditions that a lot of people go through, we can still find coverage. There are instances where we can't get you covered, but there is another alternative for you too as well. But in 90% of cases, I would say we are able to get people covered.
You know what, hon? I would actually say we have a solution for everybody. Mm-hmm. We literally do. Because of our license, we protect your life, health, and your wealth. And so for some clients, a traditional policy may not be the solution. But that's when we explore annuities. Because guess what? An annuity has a death benefit option attached to it. So when you pass away, your beneficiary can collect a death benefit from your retirement vehicle. And here's the best part. Qualifying for an annuity does not require what, Ellis?
Does not require a medical background check.
Ding, ding, ding.
So guys, we can help you out there. Just sit down with a professional and ask.
Contact us.
So Jazz, is life insurance a good investment for building wealth?
It's why we're in business.
Absolutely.
And it's also why the name of our life insurance agency is called the Wealth Academy. Life insurance was designed not only to pass down wealth from generation to generation, but it was also designed so that you can accumulate tax-free wealth while you're alive. There's an incredible book, What Would the Rockefellers Do? So many other books from Tom Hegna, from Playchecks to Paychecks. There are so many incredible books that explain and break down the transformative power of wealth building concepts built into this industry. So yes, the answer is absolutely, without a doubt. For me, Ellis, the reason why I would dare to say it's the number one way I want to build my wealth, because I am all about saving money, growing my money. I don't really want to lose a lot of money. It doesn't mean that I'm against taking a risk. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in variable products. It simply means that a bulk of my investment, I want to save my money and I want to grow my money. So yes, that's my answer.
Ultimately, you wouldn't put a house on sinking sand.
No, I wouldn't.
And that's what insurance is. It's the foundation of your financial portfolio.
Babe, you have a really great analogy of explaining the concept of building wealth through building a home. Can you share that with us?
Absolutely, right? When we build in a house, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer to build the roof first, or would you want the foundation first?
Well, the foundation. You can't have a roof without a foundation.
Well, that's absolutely correct. And that's why you have life insurance, because it is the foundation. And then your retirement is the roof to your home, your financial home, right? You need those two guarantees.
Yeah.
Right? Because a 401k is not a guarantee. Stocks are not guarantees. Mutual funds are not guarantees. But those live inside the house too as well, because they help.
Yeah.
But you need a strong foundation in the roof.
Yeah, and ultimately, when building wealth, you want to put your vehicle through what we call the laser test, right? Number one, is this vehicle allowing me my money to be liquid? Can I access this money when I need it, right? And then the S in the laser test.
Safety. Is my money safe? Right? And in insurance products, your money is 100% guaranteed safe unless it's a variable product.
Yep. And the next one is R in the laser test, and that is for rate of return. What do we know about other wealth building vehicles, whether it's the stock market, real estate, banks? They have really low guaranteed rate of returns, but the life insurance industry has proven century after century, year after year, decade after decade, that we have a much higher rate of return on average. And the final letter in the laser test is T.
T is for taxes. And how many of you love taxes out there, America? I was being sarcastic. Obviously, we don't love taxes.
None of us.
None of us love taxes, right? But inside insurance vehicles, for the majority of them, your money is tax-free.
How do I choose a reputable life insurance provider? There are so many options today in the marketplace, and I totally get it. A lot of you are watching this and maybe you're like, another life insurance agent. There's so many people spamming my inbox from TikTok to Facebook to Instagram. How do I choose a reputable life insurance provider? What would you say to that?
Well, what I would say is you want to deal with somebody who has options. I mean, when you go to the grocery store and you want to buy something to eat, do you just want to go and pick one thing? Or do you want different options?
I want options.
You want options. You want different brands too as well. You may like, chips, for example. But do you only want chips from one company? Maybe you want chips from some other different companies. So with us being brokers, we're able to go ahead and examine several insurance companies to find one that will be the best for you. So what you want to do ultimately is find a broker who has different options and different companies to find the best one for you. By the way, typically ask the broker, which company do you use?
Great question. But ultimately, ladies, who doesn't like options? Okay, this is why we love shopping. We need options with heels, with bags. We need options. And with life insurance.